Hi, Pat the Podcast Editor here. Business processes. Now, whatever level you're at, when you get them right, they can take your business to the next level. And that's exactly what we're going to look at today, as Dan and Lloyd discuss the processes that help them 25x their revenue, going from the spare room of their parents' house to a multi-award-winning media agency in just 5 years.
I guess just know that no one of these things is going to 25x your revenue. We speak about this, and we're not like those internet gurus that always say stuff like that. So it's not as simple as like you're just going to do one thing and you're going to have a massive revenue. But these are all things that if you did all of these and you did them consistently for a period of time, you probably could if you're in the right situations.
And Dan helps you take the guesswork out of predicting the value of new leads with this simple tip.
We can forecast very accurately if we're going to achieve our sales targets. That was a massive improvement for us.
Not everything is exactly on the average, but nothing's ever completely different from what we're expecting based on those metrics, which is such a nice place to be when you're growing a business and want to increase that revenue and profit of your business.
Now, before we start, we'd like to take a minute to thank our new sponsor, .inc Domains. If you're looking for an exact match business domain name that won't break the bank, you have got to check out .inc Domains. How annoying is it when you want to register a website domain for your business name, but .com or .co.uk are already taken? What's even more annoying is the crazy amounts of money the domain owners can try charging you just to buy it off of them. Well, with a .inc domain, you can get your exact domain match at an affordable price. Visit get.inc/business anchors to get your .inc domain today. That's get.inc/business anchors. Right, let's get stuck in. This is episode 133 of the Business Anchors podcast.
We're just a couple of business anchors. Welcome to the Business Anchors podcast. This jingle is slightly too long. This jingle is slightly too long.
So Lloyd, what business processes have we implemented that have helped us 25x our revenue over the last 5 years?
Well, firstly, it's understanding shorter is better.
What?
Even my wife agrees, shorter is better.
What does that mean?
Shorter domains are better.
Hey?
Have you not heard of our new sponsor for the podcast, .inc Domains?
Right, that makes sense.
Yes.
Yes.
Wasn't even planned, that
There you go.
conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, it was exciting. We've got new sponsors for the pod.
Yeah, I know. And how annoying is it when you try and get a domain, but it's already taken?
Well, literally like when we started Knowlton and we wanted to get knowlton.com, but a local hotel had it and they tried charging us thousands to get it.
Yeah. I don't even think it's a hotel. I think it's some kind of...
It's a court, isn't it? Knowlton Court.
It's like some kind of monument. It doesn't even need a website. But yeah, thanks a lot. If only we knew about .inc domains at that point.
Exactly. Yeah. So quick backstory. A lovely girl called Hannah from .inc Domains got in touch with us a while ago, and we were kind of starting to discuss them sponsoring the pod, and we had a nice chat and had a look into premium domains and .inc domains, and we actually ended up setting up businessanchors.inc, our new website,
which is live right now. Go and check out businessanchors.inc.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah. So yeah, exciting times. We've set that up. We've got a flashy new website, and if anyone's like, I was speaking to Hannah and thinking about who is this most kind of relevant for any anchors that are listening. If you are one of those people who has tried to get your either like brand name or company name or a domain that's like quite short and specific to what you do, but it's taken, .inc domains are one of the most cost-effective ways to get like the specific domain you want. If it's already taken. To give you an example, Lloyd, I actually looked up an example here. So let's say you started a business to do with protein.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, big gym lad I am.
Yeah, you're a big gym lad.
Yeah.
You'd probably want a cool domain like protein.com.
That sounds good.
I mean...
Doesn't sound like it's in line with .inc though.
No. Okay. I mean, obviously protein.com is taken.
Okay, right.
And looking up how the estimated sale price for that domain, guess how much that domain was sold for?
£27,000.
No, $73,409.
Right.
Someone paid for that domain.
You've got to sell a lot of protein.
Yeah. And I mean, even if you wanted to buy that off them now, they'd be wanting more than that.
Yeah.
So it's hugely costly to be able to get that specific domain. Even protein.co.uk, another one maybe, UK based. How much? That's not available. How much do you reckon that sold for?
£722.
$9,082.
Right, okay.
So you kind of get the point. They're already taken.
Yeah.
Even other domains that are short and very specific like that aren't taken. Protein.shop, $7,017. Protein.co, $19,999. Protein.org, $20,000.
I need a short protein-based domain, Dan.
This is the point I'm getting to.
Good.
You could register protein.inc for $1,000 for the first year and then pay $4,000 a year after that, which is way more cost effective.
That's crazy, like a one-word domain and a name that, like with the .com, is so expensive.
Yeah. Like when you actually think about it, and like to be completely transparent, this isn't for everyone.
Yeah.
Like if you have a super niche thing that is easy to get, then
if your domain's like Amy and James sell oats.
Yeah.
.com's probably available.
Yeah.
Probably good value.
Exactly. But if you are either looking for your specific brand name, like we are with Knowlton, or if you want a really short term like protein.
Like the strategic thing of having one of those short domains for a term or a word. And that's amazing. A one word domain like protein. Yeah.
And we're just going to focus on that one benefit for now, but there's loads more benefits. If you go to get.inc/business anchors, there's a landing page there where there's all the different benefits of getting a .inc premium domain. So yeah, please do check out. If you've enjoyed listening to the podcast, it'd be really helpful for us for you to just have a look at that. And obviously we've actually bought businessanchors.inc and got our new website on there, so check that out as well. And thanks .inc Domains for sponsoring the pod.
Yes, .inc Domains. On with the pod.
On with the pod. So this pod is going to be all about boring business processes. This is Lloyd's classic sort of topic, boring stuff. But the interesting part is these processes, and we've crunched the numbers, have actually helped us 25x our revenue in the last 5 years, which is absolutely mental.
I checked that multiple times because it sounds too big. But looking back, I mean, it is 25 times what we were making our kind of monthly revenue last year, not last year, that'd be great. 5 years ago. And yeah, we've really we've taken quite a lot of time this episode and thought, what have been the big things that we've managed to implement to support us to grow our revenue to that? You know, a lot of businesses out there might be like, I want to grow my revenue 10% next year, or I want to maybe even ambitious, double it. And so you're thinking, hopefully, with the fact we've managed to multiply it by 25 times, should mean these things can work. Yeah.
And these really are very actionable things that any of the anchors can implement. So can I share the first one that I really think...
Can I just add one thing before we
start? Please do, yeah.
I guess just know that no one of these things is going to 25x your revenue. Like we speak about this, and we're not like those internet gurus that always say stuff like that.
But if you sign up for our course, we'll tell you how for just no.
Yeah, so it's not as simple as like you're just going to do one thing and you're going to have a massive revenue. But these are all things that if you did all of these and you did them consistently for a period of time, you probably could if you're in the right situation. So
that's good context.
Yeah.
So this first one is all about introducing dashboards and scorecards to track performance.
That sounds bloody interesting.
It sounds boring, but since we started doing this, it's had a monumental positive impact on the growth of our business. So we use, in our weekly meeting, we have a scorecard set out where we track certain metrics around sales and marketing, operations, finance, to check that we're on track to deliver what we want to deliver. Another example is we use an amazing tool called Dash This that we have like a bespoke dashboard that every week in our weekly meeting, it shows us from a kind of sales and marketing perspective how we're performing in terms of our social media content and our web traffic and all that good stuff. And seeing these metrics in the data really helps you make more informed decisions that aren't just your classic, like, I think we should do something different. Or I don't think that's working. It's like you have all that data there to really take positive action to improve what you're doing.
It allows you to be so focused with your decision making. So it's really hard to spend your time inefficiently because you're looking at the facts and be like, okay, that isn't good enough. We need to spend time improving that now. Or this is absolutely smashing it. What have we done to make sure that that thing is smashing it?
it also makes you have the difficult decisions. Like sometimes it would be really easy for us to avoid those difficult conversations when things aren't going well. It would be really easy for us to avoid those and not have them. But having that data in our weekly and our monthly management meetings as well helps us really, to each other as well, be like, right, this is the goal. Your performance or our performance is there. Why is that happening? Let's look at the data. That's not performing. That's not working. And
I would say for me and you as business owners, questioning each other based on these dashboards has been so helpful.
Yeah.
So if, Dan is responsible and accountable for the sales and marketing for our business. So if we're looking at our metrics that we track literally every week and there's either like I'm thinking, that's consistently getting worse, or there's 1 week where it's like, why is that not what it needs to be? I'm asking you those questions, and either you'll have perfectly reasonable answers and it'll be like, okay, well, that's good, we asked that and we're on track, or it will kind of give us the alert of, oh, actually we don't know why that's so rubbish and we need to do something about it. And the same with, obviously it's the same the other way when I'm
you're perfect though, so
yeah, that's why I gave the example of you being rubbish. It's just far more realistic for the anchors to So if you're so final sort of summary of that point, anchors, if you aren't using any kind of dashboards or metrics to track your performance, start doing it now. Just wanted to make that a bit more dramatic.
Let's hear one of yours. I want to hear, give us some boring processes that you've got that have helped us.
Spoke about this a bit last week, but I'm going to give a specific example that sounds very scary. Introduce management processes that help reward top performers and support low performers to improve or leave. Without a doubt, the people in our business have been what's allowed us to earn more money over time and increase our revenue, having the right people doing a brilliant job, and having processes to support those top performers and reward them, really important. And also, as we spoke about last week, if you're a Business Anchors listener, having the process in place to, if you have an underperformer or underperformers within your business, to support them to improve or move on, which is the negative side, but sometimes that happens. And I just wanted to give an example of this.
Go on, I'm intrigued.
Sounds really rubbish.
Go on.
But when we didn't have this in place, there was an issue with low performance years back, and we got to the point where we lost £35,000 in 1 month.
Wow.
Because of that.
Yeah.
And obviously that's quite a wake-up call.
Yeah.
And we're talking about, obviously, we're increasing revenue over 5 years.
Yeah.
That month was during those 5 years. And that was when we really, it was a massive wake-up call. Hang on, what is going on here? And we realised that low performance and that not being managed and not recognising and rewarding and supporting those high performers was where we were really going wrong. And we had to react very quickly and make changes.
I was going to say, keeping ourselves accountable, that was our fault. Because we didn't have the processes. You can't just point the finger at, someone wasn't performing. It's like we hadn't set up the processes to properly manage people and to keep people accountable, which was the big wake-up call, which has then helped us to really grow since then.
And everyone we spoke to at that point has either now left or is now a really high performer within our team.
Yeah.
So, it's those difficult things, but it has to be done, and that's helping us and has helped us really grow our revenue.
Yeah. I've got another one, and we did touch on this briefly last week, but getting better at delegation and trusting team members has been huge for us. So numerous times on the podcast, I've spoken about how I'm not perfect, and historically I've tried to...
Really?
Yeah, I know. It's strange. How I've tried to really been a bit of a... what's the word? Like a person that tries to do everything and... Yeah.
A work hoarder.
Yeah, work hoarder, whatever.
I've just made up that term.
Yeah. And not sort of utilising our team and effectively delegating work and things. And that has been negative for our company. And now, sort of being inspired by how well you've done with it, Lloyd, with the production side of things, I'd feel like I'm working really hard from the marketing side of the business to really support our team and manage them better.
I think part of this as well is getting comfortable with hiring people that are better than you at lots of things, because a lot of business owners are kind of worried about hiring people that know more than them and are better because they've got this ego, and you kind of feel like you need to be the best and then teach everyone everything. But hiring people that are better in certain areas than you, that's a great way to improve the business. And once you do it, it's kind of like, why wouldn't we do this?
Is it hit on your ego though?
Yeah. Now it's easy to admit that most people are better at most things than I am. That's the weird thing looking back, though, to think as a business owner, well, yeah, I'm going to be the best at these things. Looking back, you think, I mean, that's incredibly unlikely that you're going to be the best at all these things.
No, but I do see our positions as like setting the direction and motivating the team and having the big picture thinking, and then the team are the ones who are better at the implementation.
I have huge confidence in myself that I am the best person in this business to do my job currently. But I'm not the best at doing all the other people's jobs. Being open to that and hiring the right people so then you can delegate is so. I mean,
if you did have to edit a video, you did have experience with Cyberlink Pro back in the day. Remember?
Yeah, free version. Yeah.
Still had the watermark on it.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere, Dan. All right.
What other any other? Well, you definitely got more.
Yeah. That'll be a quick end to the podcast. Wouldn't it? Get better at using data to drive decision making. Goes back to some of the stuff you said with dashboards, really. But making decisions based on data rather than your gut feeling is a huge step up for businesses. I think when you start out in business, sometimes you feel like you've got to just feel that that's right and make a decision on those things. And I think once you move on and grow as a business, you kind of realise, no, that was me just not having the data I should have had and having to make those decisions. And I want to give examples, the sort of things. The data that we're tracking and talk about and make decisions with, we know the percentage of client projects that are on track or kind of not on track to plan at any time. You could say to me now, right, what percentage of projects are on track? And within 30 seconds, I could find you that data.
In both the production and post-production side of things. And that,
with different departments, we know that at all times. We know how much money we're spending on every project. A lot of businesses don't have that, and they kind of at the end go,
how much did we spend?
Okay, right, how did that go? So that really helps us with our decision making. And we track our team's performance and people and identify any patterns. So we have our core values, and in appraisals this sounds rubbish, but I actually score people out of 10 on how well they're in line with those core values. And there's a process to that. And it's not just me kind of going, I think you're a 7 out of 10. Yeah. But we actually track the average team score and review it in our monthly management meeting, so we can see as a team, are we getting stronger or weaker over time? If we're getting weaker, is there something we need to change? And if we're getting stronger, okay, we're doing really good things. We need to continue to identify that and do those great things.
I think this is a really good point. Can I share one of the biggest game changers for the sales and marketing side of the business in terms of bringing in a process to track something?
No, sorry, we've got to move on.
Okay.
We have a laugh. Of course you can.
We've actually, a while back, we did an podcast episode about how to generate predictable revenue, where we really deep dive on this process and how we track things. But something we introduced probably a couple of years ago now, maybe more, is we started to look at data around lead indicators that showed us if we were bringing in enough opportunities of enough value and what our average conversion rate is to forecast what our revenue was going to be way more accurately. So previously, thinking back to when we started the business, when we were very naive, we would get to the end of the month and look back and think, we earned that much, or the business, not even earned, like the business brought in that much. That's interesting. Like, what a terrible way to run a business, but we were learning. Fast forward to now, we know what an unconverted new opportunity is worth. So if someone rings up the phone and says, I'm interested in working with Knowlton, we know what that value is, like unconverted.
On average, the value of that for the
just
business.
A lead, what a lead is worth. So looking at our targets, we know how many leads we need to bring in and what our conversion rate is, how many we on average we convert to achieve our sales target. So we know at any given point throughout the month, if we have enough new opportunities in the pipeline that is going to that enough of those are going to convert to achieve our targets. And that's super useful every month in our monthly management meetings. We review that data in detail and look at, right, how many opportunities have we got in the pipeline? What are the potential values of those? What's our average conversion rate? And then we know, well, not we know, but we can forecast very accurately if we're going to achieve our sales targets. That, was a massive improvement for us.
Yeah.
And that puts us in a strong position because from our, like the business perspective, we know if we can invest money in more things to improve what we're doing, or if it's a tighter month and we need to pull back on costs and that kind of thing.
It's like a game changer when you get to that point when you really know the value of those leads and can work it all out and know where you are.
When it's not a surprise.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. There are no surprises. Obviously, not everything is exactly on the average, but nothing's ever completely different from what we're expecting based on those metrics, which is such a nice place to be when you're growing a business and want to increase that revenue and profit in your business.
Definitely.
And on that note, my next point was a game changer for us is actually tracking and forecasting cash flow.
Yeah.
So there's that saying, isn't there? Cash is king.
Oh God, this is cringy saying.
Profit is sanity. No. Is it,
Revenue's vanity.
Revenue's vanity. All that kind of thing. So that's obviously well cringy. But the whole cash is king thing, it really, when we weren't tracking cash flow, we really had a couple of times where we got into trouble because it was like, hang on, the business is, we're making a profit and stuff, but timings and stuff worked out. It's like, well, no, there's no money in the bank. What? Things are going well and things, but we've literally got nothing. And as soon as we started tracking cash flow and then forecasting cash flow, we're like, okay, we've got these projects lined up, that cash is coming out, this is going out. We use Zero Budget Manager to really track that. And now it, again, really is similar to what you're saying, but it allows us to make those important decisions, and we actually know where we are with things, which makes it much easier to grow. I
remember getting a phone, this is years ago, so don't judge us. I remember getting a phone call from you when I was in Spain, like one of the first 2 years into our business, and we thought we were doing really well, and you rang me up and you were like, Dan, we've been looking at cash flow, we're like 30 grand in the red. And we thought we were like absolutely smashing it. And this is how bad our processes were in terms of like invoicing. Say we did a piece of work at the start of the month, we wouldn't send the invoice. Say we delivered it and it was signed off on the 1st of the month and it was project done. We wouldn't send the invoice until the last day of the month, and then we had 30-day payment terms. So sometimes we weren't getting paid for over 60 days when we delivered the project. And after making all these kind of mistakes, we've obviously refined that process and now have a much more stringent way of managing our finances, but it was scary at the time.
I would say, just final point on cash, if your business is growing, our experience is the bigger businesses you work with, the longer the payment terms they want. Yeah, which is really rubbish for big boys to be asking for that when they've got the cash. But so you really need to build up a pot of cash in the business to enable you to take on those bigger customers that aren't going to pay you as quickly. Something to think ahead. If you're smaller, you already know that. If you're big and you've got customers wanting 90-day payment terms, or some, I've heard of like 6-month payment terms.
That's nuts.
Which is obviously very hard to deal with. So make sure you got cash.
Yeah. Something else we did that was incredibly effective for us, which sounds really simple, is focused on delivering the best work possible as like the number one focus for us. So a couple of years ago, we really wanted to go all in on like delivering the best work we've ever delivered. Yeah. So there's kind of two ways that we are growing the business. There's lots of ways we're growing the business, but 2 angles to this. There's current customers reinvesting and spending more with us because we're doing brilliant work, and then there's attracting completely new customers. And we'd never really focused much attention on our current customers. Again,
that sounds rubbish.
No. I know. Sorry, let me reframe that. We've never focused much attention on like account management and managing our current customers to get them to rebook work in the next year. Yeah. like a number of them were doing that, and it was more of a surprise, not a surprise, but it was like, oh great, they're signing up again. Whereas we did no account management. There was no like, let's sit down and look at how this is gone. Let's come up with a plan for next year for how we can improve things even further. And introducing that kind of account management process, and also really going heavily in on let's deliver the best work we've ever delivered, to really build up a portfolio of work that was super impressive. Having a year of doing that and now continuing that helped us have a great portfolio of case studies that now it's a lot easier, inverted commas, but it is a lot easier to attract much bigger well-known brands who have much bigger budgets, because we have those case studies of the amazing work we've done. Whereas we could have continued delivering just good work and focus more energy on marketing and that kind of thing, but really going all in on that really helped. I don't know what you think, Lloyd. Do you think that's a kind of...
Yeah, and to simplify the whole of the business world, every business just needs to find people to pay them to do something.
Yeah.
And then do well at that thing.
Yeah.
And I think businesses sometimes get too focused on one or the other. So some businesses get great at finding people to pay them to do something.
Yeah.
And they're so focused on that, basically sales and marketing of their own business, and they're not focused on actually doing a good job, that in the short term, it's like, look, we got all this money coming in, but they don't have a sustainable business or a viable business that will grow because they're not focused on actually doing a good job for their customers and doing a good thing. And yeah, I think it's really good to focus. You may be at the point where your sales and marketing is stronger than your delivery for your customers. And I think in the long term, that's a risk. And what's enabled us to grow our revenue is getting a really good balance there of being great at promoting our own business, but doing a brilliant job for our customers, so that we've got that viable business. Customers are coming back, and new customers are coming because they're going, oh my God, you've done that great stuff for this customer.
That balance is key, because again, at points we've potentially had the opportunity to because our sales and marketing is working really well, to bring in more projects that want like unrealistic turnaround times and things. We could have taken on that work and got more money in, but then when we delivered that, they wouldn't be as good because we hadn't had the time we needed to deliver it. So we have got to constantly balance the bringing in projects and then ensuring we're having the right amount of time to deliver them to the highest level possible. So that's,
The next 2 points, the final 2 points we have, Dan, are the most important ones.
Go on.
I think in growing our revenue over the last 5 years.
I think I know what you're going to say.
So I'll let you do the end one, which was a really good one. But yeah, second most important, I would say, all based on the most important day of the year for us, and that's mapping out our annual strategy.
Yeah.
So there's been a couple of years in the last 5 years, I think, where we haven't done this properly. I really think it's had a massive effect on the whole year's progress. So I think 3 years ago, we stayed in a yurt somewhere overnight.
Which was good.
Yeah.
It was good. But we did just kind of have fun in a yurt, get hammered and have a brief chat about business and go for nice walks and stuff.
Yes.
Around a fire, and we had beers around a fire.
So we've tried to get the balance right of like me and Dan getting away, so we've got the time and headspace to focus on mapping out the year and what we're going to achieve.
That was a bit too much just focused on
we've really over the years we've gone like all in like, oh, we didn't even manage to get away, so we didn't focus on it. Then we went too far and we just went away and then basically forgot to work. And so,
forgot to work.
So the perfect balance I feel we've found was
this one. This one was the best one we've done.
Yeah.
This year's one.
And making sure that as a business owner or business leader, you have the time to step away, shut off, and your teams know I'm not available for this time and we're working on planning the year. It's just been so valuable for steering us in the right direction. So me and Dan basically make sure we know what we're aiming for. We've got ambitious goals. They're in line with our long-term goals. And this is what we're achieving and what we need to do this year. That allows us to go back to our teams and be really clear on this is what we're doing this year. This is where we're going. And this is what it means for us all. So the reason we're doing this is so we can work with these exciting new customers on exciting new projects so that we can all pay ourselves more. We can all have pay rises and do better work and bonuses, and we can all progress in whatever we're doing, making sure we're all really aligned in the direction we're going. And it just has such a massive effect. But I know, looking back, the years we've done this well, we've really had a great direction. It's been really clear the direction we're going, and we've achieved what we need to.
Yeah.
And the years where it's a bit fluffy and we didn't overly know, looking back, I think we could have achieved more.
Yeah.
And it's just, if you think to take one day out of the whole year, it's crazy how important that is.
I think if you want to know a bit more of a detail around that process, we did a recent goal setting podcast episode that was part of that day that would be really useful to listen to. But also I think it's important we share what made this day that you and I spent work so well, because I think there will be anchors listening thinking, right, I don't want to do the yurt thing that's so far away from actually planning your business that it's just fun, but I also don't want to do the doing nothing. I want to do a good job of planning my year. Just to share what we did that worked really well, we booked a hotel that has like a big sort of closed off areas that you can sit in and stuff if you stay at the hotel to plan stuff. And we got there at like 9 a.m. or something, and we spent that until like 3, just heavily work
Till 3, a long, hard day.
No. It was a huge amount of brain power, Lloyd. I tell you what, I was knackered by the end.
We worked there 9 till 3,
No.
non-stop.
No, when you're really in depth going into strategy, it was like, but we worked together to go through a process of mapping out our strategy of, right, what are our goals? And actually, no, even more detail, we used the Entrepreneur's Operating System, which we've touched on before, to map out those goals and the rocks that are kind of goals for each quarter, and then broke that down into bite-sized chunks of actions that we need to take throughout the year.
Basically got a plan for the whole year.
So we did all that intense, and then we got a massage.
Then we went to the spa.
God,
I tell you what, one day last week, Dan, I worked until 4. God, bloody hell.
I know that sounds bad. We work shitloads, Lloyd, so I don't even need to explain myself.
I mean, you sound a bit defensive. But,
no, exactly. But that worked really well for us. But I do think the point of getting out of environment, get away from your office. Don't do it like in your office.
We've got a meeting room for 2 hours, so we're going to plan with you.
You need to plan a whole day. If you can fit a spa in, then great. But plan a whole day, get out of the environment, and actually have structure to that day as well. Really do look at, if you want to make it easy for yourself, look at the Entrepreneur's Operating System. Get a book called What the Heck is EOS, and they break down that process in that short book, which was really useful to us.
Make sure before you get to the day as well, you really outline, is it a full body massage? Is it just shoulders? Or maybe you want a facial like I had. Yeah.
That wasn't even in the massaging room. I'm joking.
Moving on.
So final point, just to round things up. This is the second most important thing we've ever done for this. Oh no, one of the.
I thought it was the top.
It was the first or the second.
Yeah.
So back in, I think, either 2018 or 2019, we set out our sort of 2030 plan, or like a long-term plan, whatever you want to call it. Which looks at kind of they call it the end point, but it doesn't have to be the end point, but just looking at like, where do you want your business to go? What is that point and where is it? It might be like, I want it to be in 5 years time, I want to get to this size, or so think about what that point is. And we did a kind of 10-year plan from 2020 to 2030. Set what the goal is for that point, and then break down the years leading up to that. What are the milestones you need to get to in terms of revenue, profit? What does your team look like? And break down that plan. And by the way, this plan will change. Like, we've updated this once, I think, since we did it in 2019. But break down what that plan's going to be like. I know that it's going to change, but having that clear direction of having a goal, a long-term goal to aim towards, and then a kind of broken down process. We have... Lloyd's set up some really good dashboards and things that track our performance along that journey of the 10-year goals, which seems like a long sort of plan to work towards. But yeah, I think that's really helped us set the direction for where we're going 100%. And stuff.
And when we set those goals, they were hugely ambitious to where we're going to, and to know that I think it was actually a 12-year goal.
Oh, was it a 12-year goal?
Yeah,
sorry, Lloyd.
10 years sounds better. But knowing now we're like 4 years in or something to that 12-year goal, and seeing that you're on track, like we've been doing everything, and we're on track, and it's like that goal that seemed hugely ambitious. We're a third of the way through, and we're where we said we needed to be.
Just give context, it does go up and down. Like, it's not every month we're hitting the goal, but overall over the last 4 years we are hitting the goal. If that makes sense.
Yes, And something, just as an example, of knowing that long-term goal and what you're aiming for and the benefit it has. Back in 2020, we were at an event and we were speaking to some people we met that we got to know quite well, and they sell courses and things, and they were sort of talking to us and sort of said, you with your audience and everything, like basically that we could make really good money from selling courses to our audience because we had the knowledge that we needed, the experience we needed, and we had the audience online. Like we could make a lot of money from selling these courses. And I remember them being really shocked when we basically said, no, that's not what what we want to do. And I think the reality is we could have sort of quite quickly made 5 or 6 figures of income potentially of just putting a course together and selling it and putting effort into that. And so they were quite shocked to think, like, why would you, like, you've got this on a plate. You could just create these courses and sell them and make this money. But because we were focused on not just like, right, we want to make some money now, or we want to just do what's easiest or kind of in this direction, we knew we're aiming for this long-term goal.
That wasn't helping towards
that. We were so
that,
focused.
really.
It's like that thing doesn't help. That's probably detrimental to where we're aiming for, even though it can make us some money now. And we're so focused. And at first they were shocked, but then once we kind of explained, like, well, this is what we're aiming for, this is what we're doing, and it doesn't help. I kind of felt like they sort of respected that and was like, oh, that's really interesting to see how focused you are on what you're aiming for in the long term.
And just to give context for what Lloyd's saying, like, let's say we did go down the let's make courses route and we took resource and time and energy away from aiming towards our long-term goal. That could have meant us bringing on like a big brand as an agency client that would spend millions over the next 10 years. Like, or we could have focused on the courses and made 100, 200 grand. And then that would be it, or like, do you know what I mean? Like, if you got to think long term, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah, it is what we're doing.
Cool. Final thing, Lloyd.
Yes.
That all anchors need to do immediately.
Okay, I'm ready.
Is go to get.inc/business anchors, and I really thank you to .inc domains for sponsoring the pod. Please do go and check out that web link so you can see
if you got your business or you got a business idea and you're like, oh, I was trying to get burger.com but it was taken and it cost $500,000.
I didn't check burger.inc actually. I bet that's available.
Go and get burger.inc right now. Hopefully that will really help some of you guys, that a new option that you didn't realize was available and could really help you.
Thanks for the episode, Lloyd. Lots of good stuff. Hopefully you enjoyed it, anchors. And we'll see you in your ears next week.